everybody. Today we have a new episode of Meet a Writer, which I'm very excited about because doing this interviews makes me feel so connected to the whole writing community around the world. And today we have an awesome redhead joining me here, and her name is Charlène Seignobos. Charlène, hi.
How are you today?
I'm doing awesome because we have this interview together, and I'm very, very happy and touched that you said yes to the interview.
Very happy. I love the concept of those videos, and so I'm very happy to be a guest.
Hey, thank you for coming here. And today we're going to be talking a lot about Charlene. We're going to talk about her pieces and inspiration and everything around it. So let's start with the very, very first question. So, can you do a very short intro of yourself and however you want to introduce yourself so that our audience knows you a little bit better?
So my name is Charlène Seignobos. I am now 28. I just turned 28. I am a French writer and poet, and I happen to live in London. So moved to London 6 years ago, and I've been writing poetry for a very, very long time. I can't even remember when I started, really. It's always been a part of my life. And yeah, I just published my very first book called Love, the Night, and Other Traditions. Yeah, I'm hoping today we can talk about this a little bit more.
Yeah, of course. And by the way, you answered some of my questions already, which is great. This means that we're pretty aligned with that. And I was going to ask you when you started writing and how did that happen. But instead, as you said that you don't remember, which I think is a pretty poetic answer because we don't really, it's like, I don't know, I feel like it's like falling in love when you ask people, they're like, oh, I don't remember the exact moment when I fell for that person.
But I would say as soon as I could hold the pen, like I remember telling my mom I want to write stories. So I started not by writing poetry, obviously, because when you're young, you don't really know form your art is going to take. But I think my first writing that I can really remember was around the age of 7 when I was telling my mom about a small short story that I wrote and I made her read. And yeah, that's how it started.
Wow, that's awesome. Like at the age of 7, you're like the stories of the geniuses that people talk about all the time. Like whenever you see somebody becoming a genius in one or the other sphere, they're like, "Oh, they've been writing or creating music from the age of 7." And then yeah, I think mine was later if I remember it correctly, like maybe 13, 14, maybe. I don't know. It's like again, I don't remember the exact time either. So yeah.
Did you start by writing poetry or did you start by writing other genres as well?
Oh, me? For me it was funny because I wanted to become a singer at first. And
That's so funny. That's another thing we have in common then.
no way! I wanted to become a singer, and I was like, if I am a singer, I have to write my own songs. And then I started writing lyrics and I started writing like quote unquote songs. But then I realized that I can't really come up with a melody. So I was like, okay, never mind. I'll just be a lyricist, aka probably somebody who writes poetry or writes something very beautiful with that music, which turned into what I'm writing today.
And yeah, for me, it was very similar actually, because I still sing to this day, like it's my second passion with writing. But I really like kind of struggled with the form of writing songs because you have obviously to have a very different shape of what you're writing. It has to rhyme, it has to have rhythm, it has to more be concise and impactful when you write a song so that people are enjoying the vibe and everything. So it's really a different shape of writing as opposed to writing poetry. So I think I'm not very good personally at writing songs, so I kind of I did write one or two, but nothing real that is actually out there. You know what I mean? But yeah, definitely, poetry for me was the genre that was more, you know, easy and coming naturally to me kind of.
Yeah, the natural part is very, very important because you have to feel comfortable in that format. And also, so nowadays, when I want to kind of satisfy the need of me writing a song, I'm always taking melodies that already exist and I'm trying to write the lyrics to them. There's a Korean composer, I'm sure you know. His name is Yeruma, and yeah, he has some famous pieces like The River Flows in You and stuff like that. So but I take the melodies that are not as famous, well, by the world, let's say, not in Korea or something. So I take those melodies and I start writing songs for them because I basically cannot create melodies, so I'm just writing the lyrics part that I have always wanted.
Beautiful. Like I love that as a concept. It's nice.
You should probably give a try to something like that as well.
Okay.
And will you be are you shy, or will you sing something for us very shortly?
Good. Actually, it's we all have our kind of go-tos, I guess, when it comes to to being a singer and enjoying singing. For me, it would be "Dream a Little Dream of Me." I really love that song.
I
So,
love it too.
um, stars shining bright on you, night breezes seem to whisper, I love. Birds singing in the sycamore trees. Dream a little dream of me. Stay nighty night and kiss me. Just hold me tight and tell me you'll miss me. While I'm alone and blue as can be. Dream a little dream of me.
This was fantastic. I'm sure everybody's gonna fall in love with you just like I did.
Yeah, I deep down, you asked me if I'm shy, so it's very interesting because I feel like deep down I am extremely shy. Like I do things with fear, but I decide to do them because I feel like everyone is scared at the end of the day of putting themselves out there. But if we don't do the thing, how are people gonna be aware of what we do? But yeah, no, I am definitely deep down a bit shy.
And I feel like writing is all about that. It's always putting yourself out there by always being afraid that you're not good enough, your writing is not.
Yeah. And it's very difficult because in art, no one can really say, oh, what does good mean? What does bad mean? Because it's so subjective. So, yeah, I guess everyone has a vision of what art is, and it's very, very personal.
Yeah, absolutely. And your voice is totally gorgeous and incredible. And thank you for singing for us through being like shy and scared. Because I know that even singing as well is kind of yeah, I have a stage fright. I really love singing, but I have a terrible stage fright. So I never do that. I've done that a few times when I was at the university. And then there was one time that my voice broke or something, like a technical difficulty later happened. And then I was like, I'm never doing this again. But I really like doing it.
But don't stay on, one time that, kind of didn't, because you really need to try again. If it's something that is in your heart and, it makes you happy, you should definitely try again. Yeah.
Yeah, I should master up my courage and do it again someday. And as we talked about the insecurities, interestingly, I had a question about that because when it comes to writing, we always have our insecurities, and especially, I don't know, sometimes we compare ourselves to other writers. Sometimes we feel like no matter how many times we edit our writings, they're not good enough and stuff like that. So, do you have an insecurity connected to writing, and how do you overcome it?
I would say that, because I just started and this is my very first book that I published, my concern would be that um, perhaps this book is so personal, so, so, so personal, really talking about my and my experiences regarding love, regarding finding myself, regarding healing and trauma. And um, maybe sometimes I feel a bit insecure about the fact that those topics are very heavy. And that, yes, people can relate to it, most likely. Everyone is going through difficult things in life. But sometimes I'm a bit scared of putting so much of my personal life and how are people gonna react to this. So yeah, I think it's kind of scary sometimes, but as I said before, I do it with fear. I do it anyway, you know.
Yeah. So, are there ways that you kind of overcome it whenever you have those insecurities and fears happening? Like, what do you do? Do you try to ignore that and just write and just publish, or is there any other technique that you use?
Well, to be honest with you, I'm a very spiritual person. So spirituality is a huge part of my life. I do a lot of meditation, breath work. I work out a lot. So already kind of have my system of things that I do when I feel fear and when I feel stress. And obviously I apply it to that, but I apply it to everything in my life really. So like, yeah, I would say working out and like doing meditation a lot just to kind of ground me and convince myself. I know the term is a bit funny, but I'm going to say I'm gaslighting myself into not being scared. I don't know if that makes sense. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, of course it does. And I feel like that's a very hard practice, but at the same time, a very helpful one that all of us should learn doing. And so, yeah, I'm trying as well. I'm trying to convince myself to do things that scare me, that remind me that I have some like writing related insecurities. I'm like, you should just do it anyway. Stop with the negative thoughts.
Because usually, a lot of the times, one thing that I think we need to remember is everyone has these insecurities, and the only difference doesn't matter if you're the most amazing writer on earth or if you're the less skilled, I would say. The only difference between people who succeed and people who don't is the doing part. Like I feel it doesn't have to be the most talented person on earth to succeed. It takes doing and actually instead of being in your head so much and always postponing what you want to really do and what you crave doing in your heart. Because yeah, so many people every day are not really that skilled, but they are very, very successful because they do and they keep doing until it's working. So yeah, I feel like I try to remind myself of that sometimes when I feel this way, you know.
You're right, and thank you for inspiring lots of people who are going through that. Because by sharing the thoughts that you have and the emotions that you have and how you try to process them and how do you try to overcome those are very helpful. And even like now, I was while you were saying that, I was thinking of myself and I was thinking of the fact that usually I postpone lots of the things that I love to do just because I'm afraid of doing it not that well. I'm not usually afraid of failing, but I'm afraid of the fact that it might not be good enough. And I'm a very, very critical person of myself. So for others, I am better and I'm more inspiring and motivating when it comes to others. But when it comes to myself, I'm like, it's bad, it's bad, it's bad, it's bad.
Always, you know, our own worst enemy, if I can say so, but we can also be our own best friend. Like it's really about what you decide to think.
Absolutely, absolutely. You're right. And as you started talking about your book, I would love for you to do a short introduction of your book and then we can get into the questions.
So I have it. Um, My book is called Love, the Night, and Other Tribulations. It came out, I think it was October 2023, yes. So I made the choice to self publish. I had also a publishing company approaching me for that, but I decided to not go with them just because, you know, as a first time author, I feel like publishing companies take a lot of, you know, the percentage, the profit that you're going to make and everything. So I was like, um, and I kind of wanted to be able to say I did this by myself as well. So I took the option of self-publishing on Amazon. And so this book is, yeah, as I said, extremely, extremely personal. It's divided in different parts. So you have a part that is about relationships and love and the people that you encounter in your life and that, make you feel something, and how these people are not obviously always the right people for you. So there is a part about kind of toxic loves and how you can kind of sabotage yourself by choosing the people that are wrong for you, perhaps. There is also a part that is more about, healing trauma, healing difficult things that we go through. I'm sure all of us pretty much in life. Um, and how to use art and your creation process if you're an artist, but if you're not, just reading some of people's work. I think reading poetry is very, very healing. So my ambition is that when people read my book, they will hopefully relate and find a way and the strength within themselves to heal whatever it is that they have to heal. So there is a part about healing, about trauma. There is a part about yeah, really finding yourself. I think this is, yes, obviously a poetry book, but it's also kind of a self-development book, if I can say that. Um, it's really a journey from the beginning where you are really, really in pain and to the end of like opening to happier horizons that you create for yourself without depending on anyone. Because at the end of the day, yes, we can find happiness with other people. Yes, we can find the right person at the end of the story. But I'm a firm believer of the idea that your happiness, whether you're surrounded with the right people or you're actually going through everything kind of alone, it's always going to come from you. Your happiness is always going to come from you. So I think that's what this book is about. Yeah.
Thank you for the beautiful introduction. And I couldn't agree more with you on so many of the points. One of the things that I really love about um, writing in general, but also writing books and whatever that we have on our minds, is the fact that before, like above everything, we do that to heal ourselves first. And I think there's so much beauty in that. And the fact that we're trying to heal ourselves before healing somebody else with with those words.
Like the idea that someone, maybe not having the happiest times in their lives and just coming across my book randomly and reading it and feeling even just a little bit better. I don't have the ambition that, oh, people are going to read my book and yes, all your problems are solved. That's not what I'm saying, obviously. But if they can open and read a few pages and feel like, oh my God, someone felt this way before me and I'm not alone in feeling this way, then my job is done. Like, this is amazing.
Absolutely. And that is extremely meaningful, because sometimes we even get to heal people without even understanding that. And when people then tell you, I think that's one of the most um important things that we get through our writings, right? So we're not only healing ourselves, but also we get to heal, even sometimes unconsciously, you get to heal lots of other people. And I also love the fact that you covered lots of different topics. And also wanted to agree with the last point that you said, that happiness comes from you. And that was also one of my realizations recently, because no matter how many times people try to make you feel happy, make you feel satisfied and stuff, if that doesn't come from inside of you, you're always going to feel unhappy.
You could have like the most amazing person by your side, the most amazing family, relationship, friend, but if within yourself you're feeling you didn't heal a lot of things and you're just like and sad and depressed and negative energy, negative vibes. Yeah, it's
Yeah,
not gonna even the right circle. You know what I mean?
Absolutely. And I feel like, and I'm not disregarding all of the hardships that we have in life, but I always think that we're always going to have hard things in our lives. Like life is never going to be perfect, and all of us have our own different and unique difficulties and complications in life. But still finding, having the ability to find small things that make you happy, small happinesses, so to say, is one of the most important things and one of the most beautiful and meaningful things that we can do for ourselves.
Connect with someone that is like-minded as well. Like, so happy to be here today. Really.
Well, same. It was the same for me because connecting, even this meeting, I was so excited about it, and I'm sorry for like postponing a few times because the weekends are crazy. I leave just because the working week is crazy. I leave everything to the weekend, and then the weekend becomes another working day. You know what I mean?
I
Yeah,
see.
and that's why one of the happy moments for me during this weekend was meeting you and talking to you and having this interview like conversation that we wanted to have for a very long time.
Very happy to be here.
Thank you. And so while getting inspiration, like you have a whole book of pieces, where does the inspiration come? Does it only come from your life and experiences, or do you get inspiration from other places as well? It doesn't have to be only about the book, but like in general as well.
Say, I it's most likely most of the time about people that I meet. I meet someone, they make me feel a certain kind of way, and I try to translate that with my words because um, you know, there's a poem about that actually in the book that there is the mass, there is the people. You go out there in the world, there are so many people everywhere, all the time, constantly. It's like a constant noise and people moving, coming, going. It's a bit some kind of craziness. And most people, you're gonna be like, well, nothing special. Like nothing special. You don't really notice. You just keep going about with your day. And all of a sudden, you meet someone that's like an exclamation mark, like someone that's like, huh, hello, you. um, and then you get to know them, and it's just, obviously, it's a very different experience each time, but also not really um, in the sense that we're all very similar. At the end of the day, we have pain, we have joy, we have love, we have the will to succeed and make a happy life. But I really take my inspiration from the people that I meet, really, from observing. Yeah.
Yeah, I absolutely agree with that. I whenever I say like where the inspiration for my pieces comes from, it comes from the content that I'm consuming, whether it's like books and music and whatever it is. At the same time, from my life and from the lives of the people that I am talking to or observing or part of in a way.
I think actually the connection with music is very, very interesting because sometimes I could be listening to some music and yeah, an idea pops up as well. So it's completely related, all of this. Yeah.
Yeah, and on that note, I have a question because I've seen something very interesting on your account. It's the fact that you sometimes you post like pieces where it's your poetry, and then you also dance in the background. So, how did that idea come to you, and how did you think of connecting both of those together?
So I think, it's all kind of linked together to being an artistic person and someone who likes music and who likes singing. And I, and yeah, this girl, this girl. And like, honestly, I have never been, I have done some dance lessons, as a lot of people did, young girls, like a few dance lessons when we're young. But I didn't really keep going with that, which is a shame, to be honest. But in my personal life, I really, really enjoy dancing, and like sometimes I just, yeah, I'm in my living room, and it's like a show. It's like if there would be like an audience, it would be great because a lot is happening. Like I'm dancing, I'm singing, and I'm just going crazy alone in my living room. Sometimes, it's so I guess the fact that I was kind of spontaneously tried to record myself to see how things look sometimes, and then I thought, oh, okay, maybe this part could be used for that poem part that I wrote, and it's actually a very good illustration, and kind of put them together and see if the magic happens. It's just, yeah.
It's crazy how we have so many things in common. I really like dancing, and sometimes I just for me it's like a moment of silence. Like I close my door from of my room, and then I get in front of the mirror and then put the headphones, and then I start dancing. It's like sometimes I'm like lip syncing as if I'm the artist, and then I start dancing, and yeah. So the same crazy show that is happening in your living room. So basically, we have a tour around the world.
And something like I'm convinced something can happen.
Yeah, we're twins. We're twins.
Very And that thing of like listening to music, and you're on the bus and you're like imagining, picturing yourself like I'm in the video clip. I do that all the time. It's crazy. Like,
Oh my God, same, same. And I even thought of I think it was yesterday I was walking down the streets and I was listening to music, imagining like I'm either in a movie or in a music video. And I was like, maybe I should write something about this because I'm sure I'm not the only one. But sometimes when you do that, and then sometimes I walk with my sister and she's like, are you really imagining like you're in the movie? I'm like, like she literally takes me out of the movie at that moment.
yeah, I guess must be something that is more also related to being a creative person. And I don't really know, because to be honest, I surround myself right now with most of my friends are very, very creative as well. For example, I have my friend who did the illustration on my book. So he's a very, very talented illustrator. His name is Nathan Cooper. But yeah, I don't know if the whole thing of picturing yourself in a movie or in a video clip, is it something that is more for creative people, or do people who are not creative necessarily do it as well? Like, I have no idea.
I think it's for the people, those who do it are the people who want to romanticize their lives as much as possible. I feel like just being in the movie, creating like your own story is one type of one way that you can romanticize your life. So I feel like that could be that could be that.
Time, yeah, that's really a thing with me. Like, I live my life a bit as if it's, yeah, some sort of video clip or movie. Like, I don't know, I'm just delusional. I live my own crazy little reality.
That's great. I feel like that's how we can create our own lives that we actually have always been dreaming of. So that's a way of creating it. And I feel like writing that's the same for us too. And sometimes it's either for me that I kind of represent the life as it is, like I'm writing about the things that are happening, that's the realistic part. But also there's this part of me, the romanticizing part, which is I try to have the world in my pieces that doesn't really exist, but I would love for that to happen, like a world where there's always peace, where nobody's passing away, where nobody's sick, and all of those things. So I think that's a healthy balance for me. That's how I create that.
Of both, I think, is a great balance. Yeah, sure.
And I really liked and I really wanted for us to talk about your dancing and the videos, because I that was one of the most unique things I've noticed. And I was like, oh wow, she's dancing, she's writing that poetry, and she's later on like editing, turning it into such a beautiful video. So lots of applause to you for being so creative and artistic and unique.
Yeah, no, that's very funny because at the same thinking, I very like insecure. We were saying like when I was posting that, I was like, oh my gosh, like, am I posting something that is a little bit cringe? I was like, What am I doing? But at the same time, I did it, and I think now I don't regret it because it's there. You know, it's not perfect. It's just a video of me in my living room dancing and doing random stuff that I put some, Instagram filter on to make it a little bit more moody, and then the poetry. And yeah, that's what it is. Really, it's yeah.
I think that's why it was so beautiful and so relatable and genuine to me, because you really enjoyed what you were doing, and you didn't post it because you thought that people will like it. You posted it because you felt like it, and because you really found the beauty in that, and that's why it resonated with me so much.
Too. Yeah. Hopefully, like the fact that I post these videos without overthinking it too much, hopefully people can be encouraged to do the same. Um, because I always wonder what is the best form of posting poetry, on social media. It's a very, very difficult topic because you could be posting, like, for example, your account, you've been choosing, I've been having a look to have this kind of paper effect behind your poems, which is very nice and very beautiful. Some other people, they create, crazy digital art to make it move around the poem. And unfortunately, I wish I had that skill, but I really don't. I am unable to do that. I really admire people who do, but I cannot. So I'm just looking at it and I'm like, wow, this is beautiful. And then, you have some pages where people just post extracts from their books. So they take a video of the book page, for example, and put some music behind it. You have people who film themselves reading poems. And I think mine, I mean, if you look at my account, it's really, really a mixture of everything because I haven't really found what is my thing. But at the same time, I do not want to find what is my thing because I feel like I am all of them. I don't want to really be in only one form of posting poetry. And maybe one day I will change my mind. Maybe one day I will find, oh my gosh, this is my thing and this is how I'm going to do it from now on. But at the moment, I think it's like a little mosaic of ways of posting the poetry. I don't know.
Yeah, I think that everybody has to find their comfort in their page. And in the past, I would just post like those pictures and everything like that. I know that sometimes the algorithm feels like it's forcing you to do some things as well. But later, I'm usually not a monotonous person, so I get bored of the same format a lot. So as I had only the pictures, I decided that I would do the pictures, sometimes I would do poetry reading, sometimes I would do reviews, sometimes I would I don't know, review my pieces, sometimes I would review my followers pieces, and sometimes it's like writers pieces, like in general and stuff. So I'm trying to always diversify the content, like for the people as well, but mostly for myself, because I want to feel like I like the account, and I want to make sure that I would follow the account that I'm creating.
To get one thing. So I think what you're doing as well with these, videos of meet an author, like I really love that concept. So it's very interesting. Yeah.
Thank you. I'm very happy that you like it. And I have a piece of yours that I would love to discuss. And maybe if you could give us some context or anything, that would be awesome. So I'm gonna read it. I actually decided to take a short piece so that it's easier for us to discuss and everything. So I found perfection in my imperfect life. In this mess of pretty and less pretty things, I have found beauty and peace. And this is, before you say anything, this is a gorgeous piece. This is awesome and very, very relatable to me, because I'm trying to find beauty and imperfection, because lots of the things happening all the time, especially with my art, I find that is imperfect. So I'm trying really hard to find peace and beauty in it. So yeah, if you could tell us a little bit about it.
This piece was coming to my life at a very special time. I had just lived through one of the most difficult breakups of my life. I was like quite recent, not gonna lie. And I was really struggling to understand why what happened did happen. And now I'm on the other side of that, where I can look it from a further distance and understand why it had to be that way. Um, and so I think that this is about wanting to have control over things a little bit too much sometimes, and that can actually ruin the thing. So yeah, finding peace and happiness in things that are not perfect, in things that need work, and need to leave room for change. I think that's what this is about. Being able to, as a perfectionist, is very difficult. But be happy with things the way that they are and make the most of it.
That's very true. And one of the things that I liked about this piece is the fact that you took a case, like a small case, and turned it into something global, something very relatable. And you didn't like write, oh, yeah, this is about a breakup or something like that. So you put it into words in a way that could relate to lots of different cases. And that's one of the things that I really liked about it.
Yeah, it's always an amazing experience to hear someone talk about your work and read a piece that you've written. It's a strange feeling because you're like, oh my gosh, my art actually exists outside of me. It's like, whoa.
Yeah,
So
for sure. For sure. And I fell for lots of the pieces that you wrote. To be honest, I have so many favorite ones. I was looking through your account a while ago and I realized that I have so many favorite pieces, especially one that I shared today that was about I'm a huge fan of skies, of sunsets, of anything like that. Yeah, same. See, we have millions of things in common, I guess. And the one that this is my all-time favorite one, I think. The sky attempted to be as beautiful as you yesterday. Truth is, it could never compete. I was on the floor from this piece. I fell for it so bad. I was like, uh, I need to share it, and I wish I could share it like 100 times because it was so beautiful.
yeah, the sky was very, very beautiful that day. Like, I was extremely lucky to be able to capture that picture, like the sky in London, on a random, walk back home after, going grocery shopping. The sky was just beautiful that day. So I took a picture, and I thought, wow, this is beautiful, but there's only one thing in my mind, and it's the person that I'm in love with. And to me, they are even more beautiful than all of that I'm seeing right now. So, yeah.
Oh, this is so cute.
Actually, the breakup. Never mind. I'm joking.
But
Oh,
just I don't know, that moment and that situation is so beautiful. Anyway, this was one of my favorite pieces, and I was wondering if you have a favorite piece of your own that you could share with us.
absolutely, I do. Shall I read it?
Yeah.
So it's a poem from my book that is called "The Only Pink Tree in the Park."
Hmm.
And it's really about accepting your differences and falling in love with yourself. So I'm going to read it. The only pink tree in the park. I this bright pink tree. The only in the park. It clashed so much from all of the others. It almost looks unreal, like one of these Instagram filters. I stopped by to admire it. Its uniqueness left me speechless. The warmth of its color filled my heart. I've always been a lover of the awkward, a sucker for everything or everyone, collector of the odds, the misunderstood, and the singular. I took a picture of the tree, but it didn't do it justice. The beauty of human nature resides in its unequaled eye that even the best camera lenses never exactly capture. This thing is all of its paint. Funnily enough, I don't even like pink, but immediately I loved that tree. Maybe because it reminded me of me, never being the color people would expect me to be. of how I never fit in and how much I used to hate it. But now that I've matured like a wise old tree, time and experience made my roots grow strong. The rain washed my insecurities away. I couldn't be more proud of being the only pink tree of the park, just like I was the only tall redhead girl at the school playground. My long snow white arms lashed in the wind like thin, clumsy, bent branches, my long hair sunset color floating behind me like a veil, tornado of autumn leaves. Blessed be the day I finally realized differences are a treasure, the most beautiful strength if you use them, and overall, how peaceful it is to find on who you are.
Aw, this was so beautiful. And about the pink tree, about the oh, let me tell you, my favorite expression from this piece was like sunset colored hair. It's phenomenal, phenomenal. And you're absolutely right. Your hair is the color of sunset, which is gorgeous. And I really like the idea, the comparison, the parallel, the thoughts, and I really like the dynamic, like ups and downs inside one piece, because it actually represents of how we're usually trying to love ourselves. Like ups and downs. One day you're like, oh yeah, I'm awesome. The other day you're like, oh my god, I'm terrible. And then the other day you're like, I'm beautiful. The other day I'm like, oh my god, who is this person in the mirror? And so I loved how you could represent the dynamic so beautifully.
Thank you so much. Yeah, so this is really, I think, my personal favorite from the book that I wrote because it's the one that is the most me, the most yeah. It's been a long road before I could write something like this about myself and like be able to kind of compliment myself in a poem because um, I used to be way much more. I was never really insecure, but I was way much more shy and I was very scared of what people might think of me, which I'm really not anymore. Like that has completely gone away. Like I'm just doing my thing, and if people are happy, good. If they're not, well, not my problem. You know what I mean? Like, but I used to care a lot, a lot, a lot. Oh my gosh, what are they gonna think of me if I do this, if I do that, or if I look like this, if I look like that? What are people gonna say? And I think it's so limiting. It's like a death penalty that we put on ourselves to care so much about what others are going to say about us. Like, it's ridiculous. Just live. We're here for a very short time, and we shouldn't be wasting it thinking too much about others' opinion, really.
Yeah, I absolutely agree. And I think that it's easier to say, but it's also a hard process to go through, but it's also rewarding. So we should try to listen to you and do that as much as possible. And my next question would be, do you write in French as well? I saw one piece in French, but how come you chose English as your like language of the book?
So yeah, very interesting question. So obviously I've been living my most of my life in France. I'm French. My family is French. I have no one really that is from London or from England at all. So I'm not really sure how my soul was kind of always drawn to London and being in London. It was a little bit of a dream of mine. And I finished my studies and I decided to move here very spontaneously, very quickly. Like in 2 weeks, I packed my bags and I just left. And I don't regret it. Years, it's a beautiful city where I feel like the mentality suits me better. I don't know if you're very familiar with France, but people can be extremely narrow-minded on some topics. Little bit judgmental, little, you know. If you dress a certain way and you go on the streets, people are gonna look like, what are you doing? You know. Whereas in London, I feel like it's more carefree. Everyone is kind of doing their own thing. If someone wants to dress a little bit extravagant, most of the time people don't even pay attention. They keep going about with their day and just Everyone is able to coexist with their own identity, and I really like that. So the fact that I'm not writing that much in French, I think it boils down to the fact that um, for me, London is my home, even though I've been here a relatively short time compared to the rest of my life. But I feel like I was born since I'm in London. Like my life started really since I'm in London. I'm able to be more myself. I'm able to hell, I mean, I published my book that I was always talking about, and I was never really doing it because I felt something was holding me back when I was in France. And since I'm in London, I'm actually doing the things that I wanted to be doing. So for me, writing in English is first of all, it's just easier because more people are gonna understand you across like all around the world, be able to pass on a message to a larger amount of people. But also because, yeah, London is just the city of my heart. It felt more natural.
By the way, for the stairs and stuff, I really understand because in Armenia it's like that, and also we're a small country, and lots of people know each other. Like in the city, in the capital city, like in Yerevan, almost everybody knows each other. So basically you can't escape not the person, not everybody's opinions, not everybody's stares, nothing. So I completely understand you in that way.
And like it takes a lot of time. Like I said, I used to be very shy. So like the people staring at you sometimes it's like awful. I mean, especially if they stare in a rude way, like like I'm ginger, but I'm also very tall. Like I don't know if you know that, but like I'm very tall. So like when I walk somewhere and sometimes people they don't necessarily notice, but they look at you in a way that's very rude, like very, you know, yeah, just staring, really staring. And at some point it was making me very very uncomfortable. I was like trying to hide myself. I used to dye my hair many different colors because I didn't want people to look at me, and I didn't want to be noticed. I wanted to fit in so badly. I wanted to be shorter. I wanted to have, brunette black hair. uh
Oh
really.
my god.
And now I'm very happy actually that I don't fit in, but it wasn't always like that.
No way. We have this is the only like difference that we have in terms of insecurities, because you're insecure because you were insecure because you are very tall. I am very short. Like I am 158, so I to the point where I used to say that I'm 160 to make it seem like I'm taller, and I've always wanted to be taller. So you know what, there are people who are jealous of your height, just so you know.
As a girl, it's not easy when you just want to be small and discreet, you know what I mean? And if you're super tall like me, there's no way people are not gonna notice, you know?
There's also the problems of being the opposite, because everybody's like they always think that you're little, and then also sometimes you can't get something that you're looking for, and so and people are like, "Ah, do you need help just because you're so small?" So there's the opposite thing as well, but it's really funny that yeah. And it's the fact that so many people have their like insecurities, but for other people it's the thing that they want and they love.
Yeah, of course. Like that's why I think it's very important to go into the world being as kind as possible to people you just meet, to people you don't know, because you have no idea what they think, what their insecurities are, and how are the things that they are suffering from sometimes within themselves. So it's very important to try to be as nice as you can, you know.
Absolutely. That's the main thing that everybody should try to do, being as nice and empathetic as possible, because that's how we can turn the world into a better place for living, for sure. Absolutely. And so for the, let's say, last part of the interview, um, I have a few questions to you, which is like quick questions in a format which is like this or that, or would you rather? So let me hold on, let me open those. Yeah. Okay. So writing by hand or typing on a computer?
So, interesting one. Impossible to choose. I would say writing by hand as much as I can, but if I'm on the go, if I have an idea that needs to come out quick, it's on my phone. You know, the notes app. 100%. So if I have to choose, um, computer, because I'm always on the go and my ideas they come so quickly. I cannot always have a pen and paper with me. So yeah.
Absolutely. It's like my notes app is a complete disaster because of that. Okay. Writing in the morning or writing at night?
And this is actually one of the main themes of the book that I didn't really talk to you about yet. So, obviously, in the title, Love the Night and Other Tribulations, there's a whole moment in the book where I talk about how much I love writing at night. For me, it's such a peaceful time when everything else is asleep, all is quiet, and you can just be whoever you want to be. So, for me, the night is 100%.
Yeah, I would prefer the night too for sure. Writing with a strict outline or embracing spontaneity?
Spontaneity. Yes, absolutely.
Writing in a cozy cafe or in the comfort of your own home?
I love cafes because you can people watch and then you might find a random idea in front of your eyes that you didn't even think of. So yeah, in cafes I love that.
That is so true. I like that too. I actually like both. And it depends on what I'm writing, but I would also prefer the cafe for sure. And okay, let me ask one question. And uh, boop, 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 boop. Oh, and by the way, before I ask this question, I forgot to ask you, what are you studying?
Oh, so I'm not a student anymore. It was a long time ago for me. So I work in sales and marketing right now. And I'm actually learning a lot about, the process of publishing because it's for an edition company that I work. So yeah, I'm learning about the marketing side of things, which is going to be very helpful for me in my book as well because I'm trying to make it known and advertise it as much as I can. So yeah.
That's awesome. Oh my God. And did you learn marketing in the past?
I didn't. It was completely spontaneous. I've done a lot of different jobs in my life, especially since I came to London. Teaching languages, I've been working in real estate, I've been in hospitality. Like I tried a lot of very different things, to be honest. But my dream would be to be able to live, writing. But we all know it's very difficult. Let's not lie to ourselves. It's very difficult to make a living out of art, and it's just the reality of things. And it's making me very sad, actually, that it's such a difficult thing to do. Because if someone truly believes in their heart that their calling is their art and they don't want to do anything else, but then, yeah, the cost of living, everything is makes it so difficult. But I would love to be able to, perhaps one day, who knows, make a living out of my writing. Yeah,
I
definitely.
think it is very difficult, but I think that it's not impossible. So I am like sincerely hoping for the same as well. So I'm trying to for now like keep writing as a hobby until it comes to the moment where I can actually afford to live off of writing.
That's the goal, 100%. Mm.
And the last question, like in the format of would you rather? So, would you rather publish one insanely great selling book and never write again? Or would you publish a string of like 15 average selling books over a 20-year period?
Oh, that's very interesting. Oh, very. Um, so with the first option, if you publish a book and it's very successful, but then you don't write again, Oh, that can go so wrong in so many different ways because, yes, you're going to be so high on the success and you're going to be so happy and you're going to feel great, but that's only going to last some time. And then you're going to most likely feel empty and sad a little bit. So I think I would pick the second one. Yeah, multiple less successful books and just keep doing my thing because, yeah.
And this is another proof of the fact that you are very passionate about writing, and not about the success, not about the other things, which again matter too, but like real passion and love for writing is on another level.
Very true.
And thank you so much for spending this, like I think almost an hour, like 60 minutes with me. I don't know, it passed very quickly for me. Thank you so much for coming into this interview and for agreeing to share your story, your pieces, some context and tips as well. So, of course, you can like say a few of the like last words for the interview, but also if you could share one or two tips for new emerging writers, that would be awesome.
For emerging writers, I would say do not limit yourself to um, what other people are doing. If you see someone that you really admire, of course, you can take some sort of inspiration. What do they do that is working? And how am I going to make this mine? But I think it's very important that you stay true to yourself and how you feel in the moment when you're writing. So, for example, we were talking about me and my little dancing poetry videos. If you want to post something in particular, even if it doesn't fit or match your feed, or it doesn't match the trends, or it doesn't match the things that are working in the moment, it doesn't matter. You feel it in your heart, you should post it. Like, that's my honest opinion. Don't try to change because it's the essence of your art to post whatever your heart is trying to tell you. It's very, very important to stay true to. Yeah.
Thank you
Um,
so much for these beautiful tips. And I agree with each and every one of them. And I try to work on those every single day. Thank you so much for being such an incredible human to talk to. And I had so much fun. And I got so much out of this conversation personally. And I'm pretty sure that everybody who watches it will get even more. Thank you so much for also building this friendship with me that we are going to hopefully continue for a very, very long time.
so happy to have met you, and thank you for the opportunity. Thank you for having me here.
Thank you so much. And I am going to link Charlene's book in the description. So if you want to go ahead and purchase and take a look at it, please do. And do not hesitate to check her account, which I'm also going to link in the description of this video. So please do that too. And I'll see you in another Meet a Writer episode very soon.
Thank you.